Greetings. Welcome to the 2022 Ag Pro Spring Clinics. My name is Jonathan Francis, and I want to take this opportunity to talk to you about some of the performance upgrade kit offerings we have from John Deere. So there's four main pieces of equipment we're going to cover: planters, seeders, sprayers, and lastly tillage. We have a lot of great offerings where maybe we can upgrade that piece of equipment rather than trade it for new. So first and foremost, let's start off here with planters. So planters, we can upgrade planters to many of our latest technology offerings from 2005 and up, and in some cases we can even go back a little further than that. All upgrade kits are going to come with a 1-year warranty. They'll be sold, supported, and serviced right here from your local John Deere dealer, Ag Pro. So let's talk about, well, what can we upgrade exactly? So let's start with this row unit here. This thing's pretty well loaded up. It's the daddy. So starting in the front, let's talk about our row cleaners. So row cleaners have been around for a long time. What's special about these row cleaners is they're pneumatically adjustable from the cab. We'll have 3 presets on the display where we can fine tune our down pressure on our row cleaners. They have both wraparound versions and the traditional row cleaners without the no-till coulter. Right above that, IRHD, individual row hydraulic downforce. So as we continue to push planter speeds faster and faster, and as our planting conditions continue to be more and more challenging, that hydraulic downforce is going to give us the best seed to soil contact, the best depth control, and give us really set us up for the best chance of success as we continue to battle irregular planting conditions and frustrating soil conditions in the spring. So the magic, ExactEmerge. This is the meter that's known for near 100% singulation, speeds 10 miles an hour and plus. And let's not forget the brush belt that helps make that possible. So while the meter does its job near perfect, it takes that brush belt to carry the seed from the meter down to the seed trench. No roll, no bounce. We're going to displace that seed perfectly in the seed trench and maintain that perfect spacing. So this guy's little brother, MaxEmerge 5E. So that's going to be more of our traditional style seed meter, but we're going to put an electric motor on the front of it, and it's going to give us many of the same advantages as ExactEmerge, which turn compensation, individual row control for our sections, just without the brush belt and a little bit more affordable price. One other thing that both meter types are going to give us are Connect Mobile. That program is the one that runs on the iPad, allows us to do that row by row monitoring and really see how our planter's doing real time. Secondly, we're going to have mobile row unit runoff. So that basically turns each row into its own test stand. So whether we're in the field trying to diagnose a problem or we're working in the winter months to get our planter ready for spring, we'll have the opportunity to go through the machine and get it fully optimized and ready to go for spring. Lastly, moving on back to this row unit, we're going to talk about our closing wheels. So these are pneumatically adjustable closing wheels. Instead of that traditional 4 or 5 notch closing wheel frame, now we have an airbag. Those airbag settings are going to range from 0 to 5, similar to the notches, but we can do that in tenth of a number increments. So no more trying to figure out how to get the thing adjusted between notch 3 and 4 or 2 and 3. Now essentially we have 50 settings because we can go between 0 and 5. So much more finite adjustment, and if you think you need to tweak it a little bit from the cab as you look out the window, reach right over to the display and hit the button. That's pretty well the suites of technology. Let's talk about the row unit itself, more on the bones of the thing. When we do these upgrades with Deere, a lot of cases we're going to have to upgrade the row unit shank and whatnot also. So the wear items, the gauge wheel arms, seed disc openers, even the gauge wheel themselves. When we order these kits, we have the option to include all those items on it. So a little more bang for the buck and gives you a little bit more of plug and play solution, we'll call it. One other thing that's unique to these kits is the box. So historically, ExactEmerge has only been offered on CCS planters, but now we have the option to add it to 1.6 and 3 bushel boxes. One other thing I did forget to mention, when we do these planter performance upgrades, we're going to move to the Gen 4 platform, Seedstar 4 rather, which is controlled through the Gen 4 platform of displays. So it'll give us an opportunity to leverage the latest and greatest planter monitoring, as well as the latest and greatest controls from John Deere as far as the displays in the cap. So that's pretty well our planter upgrades. Now we're going to continue on to air seeders. All right, so let's talk about this Pro Series opener. This opener here is on an air seeder being put together at one of our Ag Pro locations. And we're going to walk you through some of the changes and improvements that Deere's made to this thing. So starting at the back, although not installed on this unit, we have a factory serrated closing wheel option. That serrated closing wheel is going to be most aggressive in difficult conditions with a lot of ground residue. The serrations are going to help step over the residue, make contact with the ground, and do a better job closing our seed trench. Ahead of that, the closing wheel frame springs are now upgraded. So the springs have a larger diameter, a larger coil that allows the spring to be more flexible, have a larger working range of motion, and be a more durable spring. We're going to flip this closing wheel up out of the way. Let's talk about our seed firming wheel. These things are really awesome. They're narrower, a larger diameter, and made out of a completely flexible material with not only a now bigger, more uprated bearing. So the narrower width is going to allow that wheel to maintain better contact with the bottom of the seed trench and stay firmly planted where we need it to be, giving us that optimum seed to soil contact. The flexibility allows that wheel to be more durable over time, and I don't have to tell you the benefits of the bigger bearing. So great improvement, really excited about that. We flip this guy up out of the way, and if we look down behind the seed boot, we can see the new design of the seed tab. The seed tab is now shaped to the seed trench and made out of a thicker, more durable material that will allow it to have greater wear life and be more flexible. Next, ahead of the seed tab, we have the new narrow seed boots. The seed boots are shaped to be a little narrower, not sacrificing wear, however, allowing us to have a narrower seed trench, less soil disturbance, and give us a better job, especially as we creep up in speeds. So all that being said, these Pro Series openers are now retrofittable back to all 90 series air seeders, and we can't be excited enough about it. All right, so now I'm excited to talk to you about sprayers. So behind us we have the new model from John Deere 410R sprayer. If you've gotten the trade price to one of these things, or if you could even get it from the factory, and it puts you in heart failure or gave you a heart attack or coma, whatever the medical malfunction, maybe we can look at doing a performance upgrade to your current machine rather than trading one of these new ones. So like I said, this thing's loaded up with about all the technology offerings, and we can take most of these all back to the beginning of the R Series back in 2014. So let's talk about the pinnacle option, ExactApply. ExactApply is that option where we have the dual solenoids on each side of the nozzle. We have the option of running several different nozzle configurations, and gives us that turn compensation ability, maintaining consistent rate from the inside of the boom to the outside of the boom, as well as individual nozzle control. This is one of those options I could talk to you about for 10 or 15 minutes by itself. It is awesome. Really can't believe how awesome it is until you try it at home. If you've sprayed much, this is the ultimate spray package. So if you get a quote for the ExactApply upgrade and you're like, man, that's still a bit steep, now we have a new option called Individual Nozzle Control Pro. So that's still going to be the same five-way nozzle body that you have now. However, we're going to add a solenoid to the end of it, and we're going to have most of the features of ExactApply just out the one spray nozzle. It's a great halfway option, and I'd strongly encourage you to price it if you're interested. and PWM spray technology. Another new option that we have for 2022 is boom pressure and recirculation and product reclaim. So if you look closely at this machine, you may notice that it has two stainless supply lines to the spray sections. So what those are for is allows the boom to, the machine rather, to purge the boom so we can circulate product out to the boom and back to the tank to charge it with active product, and or we can purge air through there to clean the boom out without wasting product on the ground and forcing that product back to the tank. So new option, available on new machines, of course, and now retrofittable back. So let's say you bought that 90 or 100 foot machine back 4 or 5 years ago, and you've decided that, hey, I'm ready to jump into the individual nozzle control pro or maybe even Exact Apply, and I'm ready for that 120 foot sprayer. We now have the option, without trading sprayers, to now put boom extensions on your current machine. Offered through John Deere, factory warranty, we can now convert or upgrade your existing 90 or 100 foot machine to a larger boom size. Another great option we have again for sprayers is Direct Inject. Direct Inject allows us to put raw spray product in isolated tanks of their own behind the main solution tank, and then we will inject those into the main spray boom to be sprayed. The biggest advantage to that is we don't contaminate the main spray system, or the main spray tank rather, with that product. Allows us to periodically turn products on or off, and faster product changeovers between different chemistries when needed. Talking about guidance a little bit, we'll talk about AutoTrack Vision and AutoTrack RowSense. Those two options can be added to 30 series and newer machines. AutoTrack Vision is going to be that camera that we put on the sprayer. It's going to see the difference between the row and the middles of the rows and help guide us on the straight and narrow. Once those rows begin to get canopied, particularly in corn, we'll have the AutoTrack RowSense. Works very similar to what we've had on corn heads for years. Those feelers are going to feel where the rows are at and help keep our sprayers aligned, going down the middles where we want them to. Next, let's talk about another technology piece called John Deere Mobile Weather. We can now install a mobile weather station on the machine. It's going to give us metrics such as wind speed, wind direction, delta T, temperature, and the relative humidity of the air. Increased documentation and increased scrutiny continues to fall on us for our spray applications, and this is just another offering that John Deere gives us to make sure that we're capturing accurate weather data as well as monitoring that weather data to make sure we make good quality applications. Also, in the spirit of technology, we have Connect Mobile. Connect Mobile we talked about previously with planters. On the sprayers, we're going to be able to monitor rate deviation, our spray speed, and our spray pressure. So get that iPad in the cab. Maybe we want to reference back to some historical planting maps from earlier in the spring. We'll have that option to do so right there on the iPad as well. So for boom control, we now have BoomTrack Pro 2. BoomTrack Pro 2 gives us upgraded BoomTrack sensors, if you're familiar with BoomTrack. The sensors are upgraded. We have some additional components that allow that system to react better, and Deere estimates a 22% increase in performance. So BoomTrack Pro is pretty good. At times you could think it could probably be a little bit better. We're really excited about BoomTrack Pro 2 to help maintain that consistent application height and give us that best quality job we can across the field. Now, so you got this big sprayer and you just get tired of putting 1,000, 1,200 gallons in the thing at a time. If you want to load this thing like a fighter jet midair, you need a load command. Load command is going to be a big suction pump that we add to the machine. We're going to add a special arm to our nurse trailer, and you can load a 1,200 gallon machine, and I would guess under 3 minutes. So really awesome piece of technology. Helps you get a few more acres covered in a day, and keeps you in the cab and keeps you spraying. Another option that kind of retrofits back a lot further is called the Express Boom Assembly. So In the new design of the spray booms, if you've noticed, instead of having the dead space in the end of the boom after the last nozzle body, now we have what's called an Cap Aspirator. What that allows us to do is put a nozzle body at the very end section of the boom, which reduces air entrapment and product cleanout. This option can be retrofitted back and installed on machines back to the Aught series, as I said, and works really great. Helps with clean out, like I said, and your section control performance, because there's no air entrapment in the boom. We get a little bit better job. Lastly, let's not forget about our product offerings from Yield 360. Let's talk about the Y-Drop. The Y-Drop is going to be that tool in the toolbox that allows us that late season nitrogen application window. The Y-Drop is going to place that nitrogen right down beside the corn plant and give us the opportunity for the fastest uptake, and get through the corn when it's a lot taller than probably your tractor and side dresser. Another offering from Yield 360 is the Yield 360 Undercover. The Undercover is going to add a nozzle body on the pedestal of the Y-Drop. That's going to allow us to apply that fungicide from beneath the canopy up into the canopy instead of from the top down, bottom up, and give us a lot better coverage on the fungicide. Whew, that sure was a lot to talk about on sprayers. We hope you're super excited about all of the new upgrade offerings from Deere, and now it's time to move on to the final topic of tillage. Lastly, here we are with Trueset. Trueset is a piece of tillage technology that allows us to monitor, measure, control, and even automate the various functions of our tillage equipment. For example, we're standing here beside a new 2230 field cultivator. We'll be able to monitor, control, and adjust the depth from the cab, as well as different finishing attachments we have for the implement. So think about that. I said automate. What does that mean, automate our tillage equipment? Well, maybe we could run section control. Maybe our implements will automatically pick up and lower on the ends. Our interior boundaries, ensure our tillage operators aren't working through our waterways that we've paid a lot of money to have constructed. Or maybe we could take it a step further with prescriptions. Perhaps we can run our rippers in the fall based off our corn yields, incorporate the right amount of residue without burning too much fuel. That continues to get cheaper and cheaper every day, I know. There's quite a long list of compatible machines with Trueset. Tractor compatibility, anything 30 series and newer. Well, if you're sitting there thinking, well, I don't have a 30 series or newer tractor, or maybe I don't have a John Deere, don't worry. John Deere makes a field install kit that will allow a competitive series tractor or an older series Deere tractor to be compatible with Trueset. The game here, just like all of the many other technologies we've talked about so far, is the ease of adjustments. We don't need toolboxes full of depth collars. We don't need to run around changing different pressure settings on our implement. We now have the option to be able to do that from the cab. It's going to make the adjustments much faster, of course, and easier. If the adjustment's easier, it's time we start encouraging our tillage operators to do a little bit better job. If the adjustment's easier, they're much more likely to do it. So even as small as it seems, tillage is what's going to set up the stage rather for the next year's growing season, and why not do a better job with it if we can. That's about a wrap for today. I really appreciate your time. Again, let's not forget about all the planter offerings and upgrades. All those different things can be piecemealed out together in any combination. Our great Pro Series openers for our air seeders, that long list of upgrades we went through on our sprayers, and now finally Trueset. John Deere has a great suite of offerings that they can now offer for your current equipment you have in the barnyard without buying that new piece. Thanks again for your time today, and thank you for coming.